Viewer discretion is advised. Your fave will be criticized.
That's Chris.
That's Shan.
And welcome to CCTV, the non-stop pop show.
And today we are discussing Beyonce's Renaissance.
If you're wondering who we are, Chris and I have a huge range of experience in the music industry, from performing to working at record labels. So we have a lot of insight into this crazy music industry. And if you'd like to join us in these discussions, you can join us on our Patreon, where you can give us some ideas, get to know us a little bit better, and you can join the crew at patreon.com/cctvpops. And shout out to our crew members, Lisette, Lily, and Emily.
Yeah.
All right, so today we are here to discuss the Renaissance. Not the Harlem Renaissance, not the Renaissance from the 15th century, but Beyonce's Renaissance, Act 1.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to detach from this album review because, again, I'm a Black woman. So it's going to be very hard not to just be like, oh my God, she's speaking to me as we're reviewing this. But I'm super excited because this album was, I don't want to say unexpected, but it's very interesting because there's a lot of hands in the pot and a lot of interesting things that happen sonically and I guess politically, in a sense, in the music politics, if you will. Yes, Renaissance, also known as Act 1 Renaissance, is the 7th studio album by Beyonce, and it was released July 29th, 2022. And the album is an eclectic journey through the various genres of dance music, and it's also her first solo studio release since Lemonade in 2016, because then she had the Bay-Z album, and then she had The Gift.
Mm-hmm.
So not really anything solo or popish, and it serves as the first installment of a trilogy project. And Beyonce has stated that the album's meant to reflect her state of mind during and post VidCo-19, and it has broken the Spotify record for the most streamed album in a single day by a female artist in 2022, and it has been met with both critical acclaim and a collection of criticism. So that being said, we are here to give our take on Act 1 Renaissance.
We will now go track by track and discuss the production, vocals, and lyrics, and give our ratings for each song. Please join us as well. We'd love to see your ratings, so leave it in the comments or send us a message. All right, so first off, before we even get into it, can I just say it's very hard for me not to just give 10 to everything, because I think as a project it's very cohesive and it's clearly meant to be listened to as a full thing. So I'm going to do my very best to be objective. So the first song is I'm That Girl, and this was written by Beyonce, The Dream, Kelman Duran, Mike Dean, Tommy Wright III, Princess Loco, and Mac T Dog, and with some production also with Jamil Ousi and S1. Did I say that right? Hopefully. There's also a sample of Still Pimpin', written by Tommy Wright III and Andrea Summers, which is the Princess Loco track, basically. So before we even get into it, there are a lot of samples on this album, so they are listed as the producers and songwriters, depending on how it was used. So just a lot of credits. Right. All right, so what do you think?
That, though, right?
Yes, we will. So what do you think of I'm That Girl?
This is an intro, okay? When I think of an intro, I'm thinking, okay, you're building up, you're setting us up for something, right? I mean, this is a thesis statement. These mofos ain't stopping me. I was like, oh, God. Again, that sample was really cool. And Chris and I complain about samples constantly. So it was nice to kind of hear it in this way, and it add almost to the percussion of the song, which is where it's dun 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 dun, and the bass is going. Of course you have the words, but something about it was just it just kept driving the song, and it got faster and faster. It was her giving her speech. She's just kind of speaking in her lower tone. It's it's like the declaration of fabulousness. She was, as she said, dead ass. The lyrics are self-titled Beyonce. She's giving you that non-GMO realness, and wow, I mean, it just feels relatable for a reason. Even though she's saying I am this and I am that, it feels like anyone could say this. It's very universal. It's very I am every woman, It's when you know who you are and what power you have, you feel like you're that girl for all intents and purposes. And yes, you can be that girl even if you're a man, a woman, a they, them, a Zoe, a third spirit. You can be that girl. And I have to say, the harmonies, because she's rapping so much, it's just where's the singing? And she has it in and out, and especially in that un-American life, that section there, right there, those are the nice little harmonies coming in and out in a very subtle way where you're not overpowered but still wanting more. And I think because it swells so much, you yearn for more. And then the first transition comes in, there's a slight tempo change there. It's just like, before we get to that, what are your thoughts about this intro?
Yes, very cool intro. I think it sets up the project very well. I like that we're not going straight into, dance. It's a nice kind of subtle tension that kind of starts it all. First off, I agree, the sample's very cool, and I love that she's starting the whole project with someone else's voice, actually. Like, that's very cool. And the whole thing just feels very pensive. I like how it kind of starts off with her vocal being very kind of unemotional, but then the oohs kind of build throughout, and her vocal also gets more intense as the track continues, and that's emphasized with the layers and the octaves and everything that you mentioned as well. So I think as a whole, it's a really great teaser for the whole project. The production, the production, the percussion's all very subtle. So I think, does the song stand out on its own? I don't know. Maybe not, actually. So, will I choose to listen to the song on its own outside of listening to the full project? Probably not, to be honest. But in the larger picture, in the context of the album as an intro, it's awesome and it does its job in that role.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, I agree. It feels very much like intro to the concert.
Yeah.
You know? But yes. So what would you rate this track?
Oh, okay, wait. Okay. Okay, if I'm just judging it as a song on its complete own.
Do that, yes.
In the grand scheme of things, given what we're about to listen to, it gets a 7. How about you?
8.
Okay. That's...
okay. Yes, I'll give it an 8. Okay, I'm struggling because I like the way it makes me feel. 8. Okay, I'll give it an 8. Up next, we have Cozy. Written by Beyonce, Nyjah, Mike Dean, Dave Gillies, The Second, The Dream, Green Velvet, Honey Dijon, Luke Solomon, Core East. The song actually combines Liddell Townsell's and MTF's Get With You and Unique by Danube Dance featuring Kim Cooper, while littering in a legendary quote from the T.S. Madison viral YouTube video, "Bitch, I'm back." First of all, Beyonce's cussing a lot on this, which is interesting. And also, The Dream is all over this album production-wise, which is interesting because, he did Single Ladies, he did 1+1, and some other tracks are too as well, but those are the ones that kind of just stand out in my brain right now. I'm gonna let you kick us off. What did you think about Cozy?
All right. So first off, I'm going to mention this. This actually applies to pretty much every song, but I'm just going to say it once. The siegs and transitions between each song are amazing. They're so good and seamless. I can't even, I just can't gush enough about it. Everyone needs to take notes. This is how you want, how you make people listen to a full project from start to finish. And it's just very well thought out. So, all right. Okay. So again, the samples in this are so cool. Like you mentioned, we do complain about samples a lot when they're not used appropriately. But this is clearly very inspired and very well thought out. And they kind of took these kind of more bright house tracks and then they've kind of made it feel like a little dirtier. So the way it's all combined is really cool, along with T.S. Madison's words too, just very simple but very powerful. So just really cool use in this track. I think this song continues the kind of effortless vocal delivery from the first track. There's a little more energy, but she's still not really pushing. She's not crazy belting the way that we know she can. And she doesn't need to because she's cozy. And I love the use of the word cozy. I've never used it in that sense, but I love the way it's used in this song. I love the lyric, "Feet up above your sins." I think that's just a cool phrase. That's really cool. The rhythm and cadence for the second verse is also a big highlight for me. And just the way all the backing vocals and layers come in. The song is just really interesting all throughout. This is probably one of my favorites on the album.
Yeah. I think the percussion in this one is kind of what kind of keeps doom, 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 doom. I don't know. Something about it just feels like me in my dance studio dancing with that bald gay man who was teaching us jazz funk. And he'd always have these very just gay tracks, just very ballroomy-esque, just something that makes you want to move, even though you're just taking a pas de bourrée, but it made the pas de bourrée even more interesting because of the song. It made you really want to get into it. It was simple, but it's just something about the feeling, the energy behind it made you want to dance better. I mean, again, makes you want to groove and do some African, okay? I mean, lyrically, she's going down a list of what she's been through. She's been light, she's been dark, she's been up and down, and now she's painting the world puss pink. Now, the light and the dark thing, I think about in literal sense, like when she was dealing with like the companies that were lightening her skin, and then when people realized that she was actually black at the Super Bowl, like it's just so funny because I'm like, if you take it in that literal sense, she has kind of gone through the whole spectrum of what an artist could be. She sold her soul, but she's so saved. Like it's just very interesting if you're thinking about who she is and like her whole kind of like discography and her effect on the quote unquote culture. The song is giving like Afro beats, but in the awesome chill ways. I love the shakers and whatever kind of like sounds that are in there. The harmonies are a good mix too. They're not just like the typical 1-3-5. There's some minors. Some of them sound really dissonant, but it still maintains this mantra energy. So right after I'm That Girl, Cozy comes in, you feel like you're chanting, you hear the background vocals, Cozy, you know, it's something about it just feels like people are in a circle chanting. And going back to what you were saying about samples, Tory Lanez, Chris Brown, everyone else now in the past freaking year and a half, this is what good sampling is. I mean, if you look at Janet's If, there are 3 to 4 different samples in that song from different genres of music, but you would not know it because it was mixed so well and flipped and scripted and all this other crap so well. You're just like, gorgeous. And the crazy thing about this, as gritty as it sounds, there are some really like trembly kind of strings that sound like something from a Disney movie right in the chorus section, and the synths are there too, and there's horns at the end and then a tempo switch. I'm like, honestly, I love quieter rappy kind of beat. It just adds to the coolness of it because I can't see a Christina doing this. I can't see Ari doing it. It's just something about her. It sounds so natural. Again, this is going back to self-title. Self-title, we were hearing lower Beyonce, more like, you know, Kiss My Feet Beyonce. This is like bow down, but now she's kind of crowd surfing on the haters, you know? I love it. I love it. And I love that, you know, that beach, I'm black. That was hilarious. I love that little snippet. Absolutely perfect. But yeah, honestly, I'm gonna have to just give it. I don't want to give it a high score.
You don't want to give it a high score?
I do, but I don't want to because we have so many other songs. I will give this. I'm gonna give it a 9. I'm gonna give it a 9. 9.
I will also give it a 9. All right, so the third track is Alien Superstar, and I'm about to list a bunch of names. Beyonce, Honey Dijon, Mike Dean, Blue June, Brittany Coney, Jay-Z, Lucky Day, David Hamlin, Labyrinth, 070 Shake, Rami, Leven Kali, Peter Rauhofer, Cam Dela, John Michael Holiday, Richard Fairbrass, Rob Manzol, Sal Dali, LeVar Coppin, Inc., Luke Solomon, and Chris Penny. Yes. And the reason there are so many writers on here, and we know Diane Warren also tweeted about this, is because there are a lot of samples on here. I believe there are 4, right? Yes. Yeah, 4. You've got I'm Too Sexy, you've got Moonraker, we've got The Black Theater Speech by Barbara Ann Tier, and we also have Unique. So, come on. This song is actually, at the time of recording this episode, is number 1 on the US iTunes chart. And it is one of the 3 tracks that they have sent to radio to, I guess, try and figure out their next single. So, yeah, let's get into it. What do you think of Alien Superstar?
I got Prince from this. I was getting the purple one. I was getting the purple one in his prime, in his buttless tux. I was just getting very like, you know, him walking and, you know, just when Prince was making very like self-indulgent songs, it would kind of lean in this kind of direction. Even when he gave music to his female proteges, it was still very sexy, still kind of percussive. Like, I mean, Sheila E., you know, things like that. It's just, it's giving ballroom, of course, but Prince in his buttless tux in the ballroom. And back to Diane. I mean, the song does have like 11 different songwriters. I get it. But I mean, with the samples, you have to get them cleared or else you're going to have court cases. Robin Thicke, Lil Nas X. Shall I go on to the people who did not give credit to or mention people even if it's a line.
Yeah, I think she did kind of tweet again after that. I don't think she realized there were this many samples on it. But even then, when a song has a bunch of producers slash writers, like we see that a lot, obviously in K-pop now. But sometimes you're like, how is that possible when there's like one chorus and it's super basic, right? In this case, for this song and most of the album, you can tell it's very well thought out. I mean, yes, some of the songs I'm still kind of like, really 10 people did this, but at the end of the day, overall. All those people, I assume, did contribute something important to it. So I guess that's just kind of the most important thing. But it does suck royalty-wise because their percentages are going to be very small. But it's Beyonce, so it's going to sell billions. So it adds up. It works out.
Which is another conversation about Beyonce putting her name on everything.
Let's not get into that in this one.
I know, but I would love to have one of the 100%ers come talk about that because they would have this is a discussion for sure. But yeah, going back to the song and not just the stuff surrounding it, I love this song, and I was trying not to love it, but I was just like, oh, this is hard, because I heard it on TikTok, like, I'm just searching for this world forever. I was like, girl, come on.
That's the first time you heard it on TikTok?
No, not the first time. I'm just saying, like, I was trying not to fall for it because when I heard that part, I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. Because when things go viral on TikTok, it's just like, okay, is it because it's TikTok but it's the whole thing all together. You're just like, wow, it is worth the TikTok. It is worth the damn TikTok. It makes you feel like that girl again. Going back to the first track, and I love the spelling of unique in the chorus. Oh my, U-N-I-Q. At first, I didn't know what the hell she was saying. And I was like, oh my God, she's spelling unique. I love it. Like you said, there's something about people spelling things in a good pop song. It just feels so good. And there's harmonies on it. Like the lyrics are dirty, but the harmonies are really heavenly. And I mean, the song is very self-aware and confident. And I love the like Maya Angelou-esque pearl beneath my legs, diamond beneath my thighs. Like it reminded me of Still I Rise. For those who don't know that poem, it's a great poem. And I think I felt that. I felt a little bit of Nikki Giovanni. I felt a little bit of Maya Angelou in here. And I was so happy that it was delivered in such a cool, effective way where Tina Marie talking in the bridge became Beyonce kind of rapping with heart again. And then the outro buzzes really nicely and we're ascending into the mothership. Like the background vocals going, as we're going up. Like, where is she taking us? Like, it's a lot to work with. And I felt this way about Kylie's Supernova. It's just something about super and space. It just works for pop singers. I don't know why. But it just
yes, we love the alien imagery for pop stars, right? Which and it works, I think, in this case. It's a great visual. I really hope we get a video. I assume there's a visual for this whole album, and I hope she doesn't disappoint, because now we've come to expect that, but maybe she doesn't like that. So, I don't know. Anyway, I will say throughout the whole album, I love that we're getting more talky, rappy Beyonce. It's very fun, and I like that we're getting the full dynamic, because sometimes it feels more like spoken word or poetry. Sometimes it does feel more like a rap, and it's more kind of musical in that way. And you get that dynamic in this song as well. The I'm Too Sexy sample, I remember when it leaked a few days prior to the album coming out that there was a sample, and, or I don't know if she just revealed it or whatever, but I was really curious what she was going to do, and this totally went beyond my expectations, because the way she sings it is so beautiful, and it's just very inspired. Like, it's just such a great idea, and then you combine that with that kind of wiry synth, that extended synth that goes behind it too. It just sounds super, super cool. And yeah, just a really cool listening experience. I will say I love Barbara Ann Teer's speech in there. And then with that kind of almost operatic outro as well. Just really, really beautiful. And yeah, we've kind of alluded to it already, but this album is really like a drag queen's dream. It's full of drama, tons of dynamics. And of course the lyrics are just very queer, I think, just in how... just in a lot of the references and just how they're written. Yeah, I just can't wait to see some drag queens just slay these songs. It's going to be so good. Yeah. All right, so what do you rate this song?
I'm going to give it a 10.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I feel like it's 10 too much? 10. No, I'll give it 10.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 10 also. This one is great.
This song, I really want to cuff this song. And speaking of cuffing, the next track is... Cuff It. Oh, yes.
Sure. Okay, continue.
Let me live. Okay, listen, guys. It's been a while. It's been a while since we've done these album reviews, and usually my transitions are a lot more smooth. My transitions are really very much Renaissance in the past. We're getting it back, though. We're getting it back. But yeah, going right into Cuff It, we have Nile Rodgers, Blue June, Beyonce, Raphael Sadiq, Brittany Coney, The Dream, Morden Reese, Ristorp, Alan McGreer, and Tina Marie. And we have producers Nova Wave, Sadiq, Reese, and The Dream Again. And this actually contains a very short interpolation of Ooh La La, written by Mary Brockert and Alan McGreer, and performed by my girl Tina Marie, Lady T. All right, so this song is pretty, like, I guess, normal, quote unquote normal.
Yes, yes. So
Yeah,
first,
right?
I will note this is also another track that has been sent to radio as potential single, which makes sense because, like you just said, it's a little safer. It's very catchy, but definitely the most pure pop in the sense of just kind of its structure. And yeah, I guess just kind of the way it is. But I will say, after some of these kind of dirtier tracks that we've had so far, this one is a bit brighter. You know, I love the funky guitar. I like the more kind of classic disco dance beat. Love the horns that come in, then kind of build throughout. So even though it is a safer song, it's a good song. I absolutely love the background vocals in this. Just super beautiful, and also just, you know, just some fun things to chant along to or sing along to, like, I need a drink, you know, like all that fun stuff. And I love that there's still a reference to spaceships in the chorus, you know, keep that theme going from the previous song. Just again, just shows the cohesiveness and how this whole project is just like perfect as a whole. And I also love that the phrase "cuff it" only happens near the end. I love when songs, you know, aren't like very obvious titles. There are a few songs on here like this. But yeah, that whole last minute is just so awesome. Like, it peaks and then you get this kind of dirtier outro that then kind of makes it sound more like the previous songs. And the isolated horns with that kind of bass sound really cool. Just a really, really cool track, even though it is the safer one. It's still artistic growth, I think, for Beyonce. So, yeah.
I agree. I think the producers on this were very interesting, like a very like mix up of like Nile, Raphael Sadiq, okay, Reese, like Reese does Lucas Graham. Wow, that happened with Beyonce. I guess it was a conversation. Someone's like, hey, I know a guy. Nile Rodgers, you can definitely hear that.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
Raphael Sadiq, he is Tony. You know what I'm saying? Like, he is. Hello. For the young kids that don't know who Raphael Sadiq is that A Baby, that little anniversary remix that's been going popular on TikTok with the weird shuffle foot thing that people have been doing? That's Raphael Sadiq in 2020. Ooh La La with Tina Marie. That's like one of my favorite freaking songs. Like, it's so good. You can hear it in Fuji La with, you know, the Fugees, and Lauryn Hill sings the part, the Ooh La La La. Anyway, because all these people are here with different kind of like influences, I think that's what kind of makes this song a little bit more like interesting, because it's like, let's not use a typical, like, not typical, it's the same kind of sound. Let's introduce more horns. Let's introduce more things. And I think after 2 years of like straight retro sounds, people were expecting this. Follow the trend. I mean, funk and disco is not something that Beyonce is afraid of. Like, let's be real here. When she comes from the school of Tina Turner, you have all these kinds of influences in you. Gotta Work It Out. People weren't really jamming with it. They weren't really gelling with it. We get it. That was supposed to be the first single. It did not work out. And then bam, Crazy in Love comes. We got the horns. We got the sample from the Shy Lights. Are You My Woman? Like, she always has had this kind of funky, you know, thing going on with her. And I think people kind of forget that. You know, because all they think is Single Ladies from the freaking I Am album, which is fine. But I mean, if you listen to 4, the first album that got leaked from her, which is unfortunate, it is full of older sounds that people just seem to not be really paying attention to. But honestly, the song, bam, comes up here too. It makes me think of Blow from Self-Titled. Like, really, this is like a kind of a continuation from Self-Titled for me. A more mature, more, I don't know. Something about it just feels like a nice fit in her discography. And I think, like you said, with the cuff it at the end, like cuff it, bust it. Oh my God, I love that part. It's fun. And I think of like how much she loves her man. Like, she loves her some Jay-Z. It seems like she falls in love with him over and over again. Like, I can hear her kind of smiling as she's singing. And I love the For You section, because she crawls into like this really low harmony at the last one. The For You. It's very low. It's very low. And I love that. Production wise, it is safe. There's strings, there's horns. But I think the runs, the effortlessness of them and the harmonies make it feel so cool. And the bridge has cowbell and some horn trills and cymbal crashes. But again, nothing too crazy. Very palatable, familiar, but still fun.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you rate it?
I will give it a 9. How about you?
Okay, I will give it a 8.5.
All right, so the next track is Energy, and this one was done by Beyonce, Beam, Chad Hugo, Pharrell Williams, Skrillex, Al Kress, Jordan Douglas, Tazita Makuria, Blue June, Brittany Coney, The Dream, Tina Marie, Alan McGreer, Black and Mild, and Big Freedia. All right, so this one again contains that interpolation of Ooh La La, but also includes a sample of Explode, performed by Big Freedia, and Milkshake, written by Pharrell Williams and Chad Hugo, and performed by Kelis. So, we have to talk about the drama, because this week, Beyonce removed the sample from the track after facing some internet backlash in the wake of Kelis revealing that no one reached out to her about the collaboration. Right. So the pair, Pharrell and Chad, reportedly gave Beyonce the right to use Milkshake without notifying Kelis, which has in turn caused controversy and a little bit of a rift. I feel like I still hear like the milkshake-ness in that dance beat. So they didn't take Pharrell and Chad off the credits. I think they just removed the kind of la 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 la's at the end, which is unfortunate because I actually think they actually did add something interesting to that end. But without even mentioning that, this is stupid. Kelis has, and like Beyonce and the label, I assume it's a label that cleared the samples. Yeah. They reached out to the right people. It's not their fault that Kelis signed a bad contract and did not get publishing or master ownership for this song and her other ones, right? Yeah. So at the end of the day, it's honestly, no one needed to notify her. Sorry, like I don't know what else to say. Yeah. That's how I feel about it. Like this, I feel like it's a disservice to the song, unfortunately.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because again, she probably feels like it's a little tainted because no one asked her. But for the first time in a really long time, you're getting acknowledged and you had a credit.
Did she actually have a credit though?
Maybe not a credit, but she was credited as opposed to being shafted by her former collaborators. You know what I'm saying? You go, you went from like Young, Fresh and New, and then the Tasty album, and then all of a sudden, you guys are done with each other, which sucks because I love me some Kelis. I really do enjoy her. It's just unfortunate that she hasn't gotten a lot of acknowledgement. They've kind of just forgotten that she's even existed at this point. And now you get a mention. It just sucks because I can get where she's coming from in the sense of like, well, no one told me. But like you said, technically speaking, if you remove all the emotions and like all this other stuff, logically speaking, everything was done. People were contacted. Yeses were given. It is what it is. And now your name's not on it. It doesn't have to be, but it's just, again, awkward. Very awkward.
Yeah, it's a little awkward, but I don't think it needed to be done in that way. But you know what? Whatever.
Out of respect, she took it off.
Yeah.
Now.
Right.
It's still on this album, though.
Yes. It'll be very, very interesting, actually. I mean, you have the original physical. I wonder if it might be worth something later, because it's like the initial run, right?
Right.
Yeah. So take good care of that, just in case. All right. So I'm going to be honest. This song doesn't really stand out for me, because it almost just kind of feels like a long interlude or intro for Break My Soul. It's less than 2 minutes. I think the kind of bassy synth thing is cool, but honestly, like melodically, lyrically, it doesn't really do anything for me. The Beam feature's okay. There's some interesting like blips and blops, throughout it. And it gets a little, the energy does kind of increase as it goes, but I mean, I don't know, especially with the way the Sieg is done, it really just feels like an intro to Break My Soul. So, yeah. This one's fine.
You know what? Yeah, I agree completely with you. I feel like that first verse into the Beam feature was like a slave to the previous song because like it was that once she left that behind that the production, it was just like, okay, the transition came and then it went. You know what I'm saying? You go from like, what is it, Cuff It to this, and it was the same thing. But then it just kept going. I'm like, okay, where's this going? And then the sample the feature came in. I was like, oh, this is interesting. But yeah, I mean, her rapping is fun, and I would love to hear the pop, 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 pops with a band. Like, I want to see her.
That's a fun part. Yeah.
Yeah. But it took how long for you to get there? Because you were still attached to the transition that was happening because Cuff It, So I agree with the interlude kind of thing. It feels very like a transition, but it was a bridge to the next level of energy, because then you hear Big Frida just doing her her plosives and I sound crazy, but yes.
Yeah.
So how do you rate energy?
Okay, I think on its own, I have to just give it I guess. Let me think. Okay. If I have to just give it a rating just on its own, it's kind of low, to be honest. I give it like a 6.5. The pain.
Yo, this is great. Like, it's almost like blasphemous. It's like, do I really want to do this?
Yeah.
I agree. I think because it just, I'll give it a 7.
Okay.
I'll give it a 7. Yeah, by itself, like, could it stand by itself?
No.
But yeah, sorry if we broke some hearts. But we're getting right into the next song, which is "Break My Soul," which was done by Tricky Stewart, who used to go by Trickster. I don't know what happened to that. Big Frida, Black and Mild, Fred McFarlane, Alan George, Jay-Z, The Dream, and Beyonce herself. And also there is Isaac Swing that is also credited as a producer. And this contains elements of Show Me Love by Robin S., written by Alan George and Fred McFarlane, and Explode, written by Freddie Ross and Adam Piggott, and it was performed by Big Frida, the queen of the New Orleans bounce, honey. Holding it down.
Yeah.
This is first single.
Good
first single. Solid first single. Nice little sampler, appetizer. Left room for like more to be desired, but not in a way where you're unsatisfied. It just felt kind of just like, oh, interesting. Where is this going? You know what I'm saying? Like, because for her to use something that was sampled or interpolated, and she's never really done that except maybe with the Crazy in Love, and you're like, oh yeah, okay. If you know, like Shy Lights, you would know, but if you don't know, it's like, it's just a cool pop song. This one, everyone knows. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows that. So it was interesting. What do you think about this one? Transitioning from energy, this like meh kind of like thing, into this.
Well, I will say, if you take those two together, it almost makes Break My Soul better because of the way it builds it up. So if that was what energy was for, it does its job well. You see a lot of people saying that Break My Soul hits harder when you listen to it kind of in the context of the album.
Yeah.
So I understand that from that point of view, and I agree with that. And yeah, I think I love the Show Me Love sample. Again, kind of with what she's been doing. She just makes it all a little cooler. And so really well done. It makes sense to me as a first single. I think it's a good representation of kind of some of the different influences. It's very catchy and it's kind of simple in a way compared to the rest of the album. So yeah, I think the overall build is fun. I like the kind of rap parts. I remember when I first heard it, that was probably what was most exciting, right? So I'm glad that has kind of been through other tracks as well. And I like how the backing vocals sometimes sound like a church chorus, which may allude to what the next song is, which is awesome. And I just can't wait to hear her do this live. I think it's going to be really cool once the Sugar Mamas get their hands on it, Though it does have a typical pop structure, I think the production just is constantly changing. So that's what makes it kind of a little more unconventional, and it makes it an exciting listen every time. And the song has just grown on me a lot, I think, through this past month that it's been out. Also, we haven't really mentioned Beyonce's vocal tone has definitely aged, but it sounds great. It's become a lot more full, slightly more raspy, but she does sound a lot more like Kelly Rowland. I remember that's the first thing that I thought when I first heard this song, is that she sounds like Kelly, and I mean that in the best way possible, because clearly they grew up together, so it would make sense that their techniques and stuff are the same, but even tonally now, very similar, which is awesome. Also, just want to say, all the memes of the people like quitting their jobs or not doing their jobs well because of this song, just extra hilarious, because Beyonce herself has never had a regular desk job. So people, this is just for fun. Don't quit your job, because Beyonce has no idea what we go through.
Not at all. You know what's interesting about that? It's like that goes back to what I was saying about like even though she's saying it, it's
Yeah.
going back to it's just like I just fell in love and I just quit my job. I'm like, yeah, I did. I'm gonna quit my job. I'm like, wait, I can't quit my job. But just something about it just feels so relatable. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, she always gets me. But you said everything I was thinking, and it just makes me think like, will Act Two have features like with Solange, Kelly? Like, yeah, I mean, we all hear Kelly in this second verse, and if you don't, you're tripping. Because let's be real here, Kelly was on the dance thing
Yeah.
before everyone else in the group.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, you know, Michelle had Break the Dawn Wait. Yeah, she had that. But
Yeah.
but Kelly had When Love Takes Over. Yeah, yeah. Come on. And Commander,
Mhm. Oh,
her in that
yes.
spandex. I'm so confused as to why she got off the wave, but she was on it. And then
Mhm.
freaking We Found Love comes out like how many years later? I'm like, you would have just stayed on it, Kelly. She could have been our Donna. I mean, she still looks like her. I'm waiting for the biopic. I'm waiting for it. But yes, I think vocally, like he's like production wise, I think what made it so interesting was the bassier kind of grittiness added to the sample, and then
Mhm.
like the "You won't break my soul, you won't break my soul" is going bam, bam, bam. There's a build there, so you're just like, oh, this is going beyond just a regular dance with a pulse, like a dance beat
Mhm.
with a pulse. It has like a bridge. It's going higher. It's elevating itself, and I love her vocal approach. Again, it's lower, it's more raspier, but I think that everybody that oh, so simple, but it comes in and out here and there. Love it. And I think that gospel ending with the chorus singing behind her, everyone's like quitting their job. We won't break my soul. You won't break, marching, before marching their asses back because they have work at 9 a.m. But still, the idea of like when you leave and you clock out, it's like, get the hell out of here. I'm done. Goodbye. You won't break me. And of
Mhm.
course, Big Frida's voice in between there
Oh, yes.
ties in that retroness, but brings back that current feel and then brings back, like, I don't know, the relatability. Because how many different communities is she touching with this one song?
Oh, yeah.
Like the hands are wide. It's very omnipresent, this song. Something about it just felt like, if you don't like it, cool, I get it. But can you not relate to wanting to quit your job? Can you not relate to people trying to put you down?
Mhm.
And that's what this song is. It's interesting. I feel like this is the more like quote unquote political Beyonce that everyone was just expecting. Like she's making a statement. Not really.
No.
And that's fine. This album's not about her making a statement.
Yeah.
It's about her just having fun. And if you relate to it,
Mhm.
then that's her social commentary, not like a full on, you won't break my soul. Like it's not going
No,
there.
I'm in the mind that I don't want a political album from her.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
I'm glad she didn't go that route, but maybe Act 2 or Act 3 will be, but I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe,
But anyway,
maybe.
I
Yes.
will definitely give this one a 10. How about you?
I will give it a 10 as well.
Cool. All right, so we said there was a church choir.
Mhm.
And the next song is Church Girl, which was done by Beyonce, The Dream, No ID, Twinkle Clark, DJ Jimmy, Derek Robert, Ordone, James Brown, Orville, Bugs Can Hall, Phil, Triggerman Price, Ralph McDonald, and William Salter. And this contains 4 samples. There's Center of Thy Will, performed by the Clark Sisters, Where Are They At, performed by DJ Jimmy, Think About It, performed by Lynn Collins, and Drag Rap Triggerman, performed by the Showboys. Wow. Okay, so after such a high energy moment, this song pulls it all back perfectly. It's really interesting though, because the intro, then I'm like, oh, is this a ballad or is it mid-tempo? But no, we're still at the party. We're still at the party.
It's on you.
So what do you think of Church Girl?
You know what? The way the song came in, it reminded me of a rapper's track because of the sample. The way it came out, I'm like, I can hear a rapper on it. I can hear Jay on it. It reminded me of the Basie album that they released a while back together. Like it just felt like, oh, a rapper could have done this. The song felt like it was combating like melodically for me a little bit. I don't know why, but it just wasn't giving it to me. You know, even when the chorus came in, you see me on the upside, I was like, this ain't it melodically. And something about it just was not giving me, like, I wasn't connecting to it instantly. But then again, it got to this dancey part and it felt like 7-Eleven. It felt like Get Me Body.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden it felt like Me, Myself, and I met it in the middle. Where it's like, I see my worth. You know, I'm doing the best I can. I don't have a man. I don't have this. I'm doing the best I can. Drop it like a thought. Drop it like I'm like, what is happening? Like
Yes.
the song really encompasses like the Batgirl experience. Like, you sitting there popping it on Saturday night, but you have to wake up the next day to go to Sunday service. Jesus is dead. Like there's just like, it's just like,
Yeah.
Even with the Clark sisters kind of thing in there, like I, again, think rappers sampling. So I like that she did it, but just certain melodic choices were not my favorite. But yeah, I think the lyrics were funny because people are like, it must be the cash because it ain't your face. That little Nelly tip drill moment.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was funny because people were like, does she mean Jay-Z? No, she's talking about every other man in the club. It must be your money because it definitely is not your face. I like the way it kind of percolates there in that New Orleans kind of like ding 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 ding. It's very City Girls. It's very Southern Baptist church with the Clark sisters. So again, I mean, it's not bad, but for me, I was just like for a second before all the dancing and the shaky came in.
Yeah. I appreciate how experimental it is, I guess. It is kind of, it's like those Frankenstein songs we talk about so much, where it's like the verses of the chorus don't feel like the same song at all. But in this case, I think it kind of works, actually. Because I think the switch up, once you kind of know it's happening, it's not that jarring, actually. Like the transition isn't that jarring. So they did a good job with that. But I kind of like that the lyrics are kind of more empowering and kind of sweet. And then it's like, drop it like thotty. But that's what makes it fun. So I appreciate that. But yeah, you mentioned Get Me Bodied. Definitely the first time I heard this song, I was like, oh my God, there's something about the rhythm here that sounds like Get Me Bodied, especially in the post-chorus. So yeah. So I think the song is definitely one of the more unique songs on the album. Could it be a single? Probably not. But I think it pulls from the different influences and ideas really well. And it is a unique song on the album, and it stands out for me. So what do you rate this one?
Okay, I will give it an 8.5.
Yeah, I will give it an 8.
Okay, up next is Plastic Off the Sofa, written by Nick Green, Sid, Sabrina Claudio, Beyonce, and Patrick Page II, as well as Levin Kali. This song is interesting. The title of the song is really interesting because when I think of plastic on a sofa, I think of island families. I think of my Filipino friends and their couches, and, trying to keep things, clean and my legs sticking to the sofa. So I just don't get the whole plastic off the sofa thing as a choice. I was like, I don't get it. And it's interesting to see the songwriters for sure. Like Sabrina Claudio, for those who don't know, she has mastered this neo jazz thing because she's mixed like a lot of jazzy, I guess, like nuance in her electric kind of, I don't know how to explain it, but she has a very interesting sound that works for her. Cool. So when I see that her name is on it, I think, oh, that makes sense for how dirty the lyrics are, but how sweet and smooth and fluid everything comes across, because that's where Sabrina sits in. She kind of whispers, sings, and she whispers things, but it's like Sade meets, I don't know how to describe it, but it's like, oh, this girl has a great falsetto. And you can hear all these little falsettos here that Beyonce does. Because Beyonce doesn't really sing in her falsetto like normally, unless she's trying to just use it for like, I guess, like effect in certain songs. But this one's kind of just like, sitting in my mixed voice the whole time, which is really pretty. Again, the sultry, dirty thing on a platinum platter is Sabrina for sure. But Beyonce sounds really cool, especially in the talkie beds where she's like, you had a rough life. I like it rough. Or she's like, or she's like, yeah, I think you're so cool, even though I'm cooler than you. I thought that was really cool. Like, I'm not saying she sounds like that. Like, it's just,
it was fun.
But it's fun because she doesn't have to sing all the time because we know she can sing. Like, we get it. It just sounded really dreamy, and it has like this very like, I don't want to say bossa. It's not bossa, but it's an island acoustic sound.
Yes.
If it's African, I'm not sure. I'm not very good with like diasporic kind of like tunes like this. I'm not really that I'm not sure. But it's really nice, and I really appreciated it for all the noise that we got beforehand. So how do you feel about this?
Yes, I think dreamy is a great word for this track. First off, you mentioned Blow earlier. The intro of this sounds like Blow. for sure.
Oh, yes.
The rest of it doesn't, but the intro definitely does. Yeah, I agree. I think I love how sweet this song is. Again, just something different from the rest of the album. I love the production on it. I think that, the very light guitar strums, just the whole thing feels very light. Like everyone's playing their instruments very lightly, The drums are being very lightly tapped. The guitar is being very lightly strummed. Yeah, and then the way she's singing matches that, right? Like you mentioned, it's all her head voice or mix. And it's just perfectly breathy and feels very open. Like the vibrato is very natural. So yeah, and there are a lot of like little runs and trills in here. But it never really feels like too much, which she has, that has been an issue in the past. So I'm glad she doesn't do the most for this. I want to say the harmonies actually are really cool in this too. Really interesting choices, and none of it distracts. It all just kind of adds to the fullness and just kind of keeps the song interesting. Because again, every chorus kind of sounds different. Every part sounds different. Also, I have to say, I know I said I wouldn't mention it again, but this outro in Thique is probably my favorite of the transitions in the album. It's so smooth. It's so good. Yes. So what do you rate this one?
I'm gonna give this one a fat 9.
Okay.
10. I'm being an asshole. I like the song. It's a 10.
Okay.
And I think in the sense of like it being super smooth, this is the softer song that sounded really good and cohesive.
Yes.
So I'll give it a 10. I'll give it a 10.
Okay. I will give it a 9. Yes. Next one is Virgo's Groove, and this one was done by Beyonce, Levin Kali, Daniel Memi, Dustin Bowie, Dixon, Jawzy, Corporal, Blue June, and Brittany Coney, with production also, again, by The Dream.
I like this song. I mean, it reminds me, like, it's very funky, and this is the song that when I heard, I was like, oh no, Cuff It got some competition, honey. Because again, like you said, it is 6 minutes, and I love that she gave us like a real disco song that's like 12, like it's a 12-inch version. It's a 12-inch version asking for that 8-inch, okay? She was like, baby, come here, give me some of that lovin'. And I like that. I like there's something really sexy about her being vulnerable because she's such a powerful woman. And for her to be like, come over and give it to me and do some nasty things to me. It just reminded me of Mary Jane Girls, Vanity 6, Apollonia. It just, even LaBelle. It's just, that's what makes this song kind of fly effortlessly through the timelines. The cadence of the raps and then the smoothness of the vocals and the harmonies. It's just retro future done so well. Giving Dua a little run for her money. Okay, giving a little bit of a run for her money. Okay. But yeah, this song makes me want to go roller skating. The bridge is very, very satisfying. Again, like I said, it's all these older girl groups from like way back in the day. I've just felt that from here. It feels very like, ooh, yeah. It just, there's a certain cheese that comes with those kind of background vocals, but it wasn't cheesy in this delivery. Again, I just, and there's so many like really nice runs toward the end, like those whisper runs. Like, honey, she was in her bag. She was sitting there just, I know she was. There's no way she wasn't making that little like face where she lifts up like the corner of her lip. Like, if you know what I'm talking about, y'all seen it.
Oh yeah.
You've seen
yes.
So looking at the watch runs, like I could feel it coming in. Wait, just wait for it. Live performances, she's gonna give us long ass runs. I'm telling you. But,
this song will be 10 minutes because she'll just keep going.
Yes.
All right. Yes, I agree. Those last runs at the end of the song are beautiful. I think you mentioned earlier, she doesn't usually use her head voice and stuff that much, but this time she's doing those transitions from her mix to the chest to the really well. Very masterful, very beautiful. And it lasts just long enough, right? I hope she doesn't do a crazy 10, 15-minute version for the tour. But yeah, also this is like the karaoke nightmare. No one should attempt these ever. Please. Please don't. That would just be like the worst minute ever, pretty much from anyone.
Oh my God, yes.
Anyway, production wise, I actually really like the song. The dynamic between the wavy synths, the dance beat, the funky bass, I love that sound. So this is just candy for me, for my ears. These lyrics are very sexy. And the vocal delivery is really cool because I think the lyrics do there's some where it's kind of just like, come to me, I want you now. And so it's kind of seducing. She's trying to seduce, but then she's also just kind of demanding, like, do this to me. Right? So
Yeah,
that
me.
vocal delivery is fun because you almost feel that urgency, you feel that impatience where she's like, I'm trying to be sexy and let's seduce you, but also just like come now. You know? So that's fun. You hear that in the way she's singing it. And yeah, the song doesn't feel like it's 6 minutes long at all.
No.
So good job, because some songs that are only 3 minutes can feel like they're 6 minutes. And yeah, I think just some really interesting production choices that make it interesting, right? Like the beat will randomly stop. There's some parts that almost feel so free and open that it feels like she's freestyling, like not just the last runs, but other parts. Too. So I love that in this song. And so yeah, actually this song has grown on me a lot because I've just kind of listened to this album on repeat this past week. And I think I will give this one, do I give this one a 10? I might give it a 10.
Ooh. Yeah, honestly, that's why I didn't give Cuff It a big score, because I was like, this song, for it to be like another like quote unquote typical Beyonce track, sorry, 10. 10 for me too. Move. Next song is Move. I mean, I thought I'd kind of come in very abruptly the way the moves come in, you know?
Yes.
But yes, up next we have Move featuring Grace Jones and Thames, and is written by Beyonce, P2J, Ari Penn Smith, Blue June, Brittany Coney, Ronald Banful, Thames, and Grace Jones. While we have Stuart White, Mellow X, The Dream, and Guilty Beats as featured producers as well. Again, The Dream is all over this. He seems like he does not miss. It's interesting.
Yeah.
But yes, Move. We getting right back to the motherland on this one. I was like, it's interesting because again, she's like bringing all of her influences to the forefront. We had The Gift where she's doing more Afro beats. We have 4, and then even B-Day with the horns and the big band sound. It's all here. But now it's more just like aggressive and more like pop, and not just like we're making a political thing. It's more like me and my girls are coming through, and I like that. I think the tempo switch and the key change in these transitions are the smoothest thing. I think, like you said, the song is 6 minutes, and some of the stuff feels like it's being freestyle. It feels so lucid, but by the time the next song comes in, you're like, wait, this is another song. Let me glance at my phone real quick. What song is this? And that's like, it's very hypnotizing. So when Move comes in, it's very abrupt. It's her repeating it. You have Grace Jones, who I mentioned with Virgo's Groove, sounding like LaBelle. So it's just so interesting. I don't think that's what she was thinking. And if it was, you were a clever young lady, Beyonce. Very clever. But yeah, again, this is Afrobeats goodness. And it feels like a nice, fun transitioning into the next phase of the album. Unlike Energy, where it just felt like, okay, we're just going. Oh, it's going somewhere? Oh, okay, bam. This one isn't super long, but it gets the point across. You have two other women on it, which is interesting because, again, I would love to hear her sister on a track with her, because Solange has the punchiness that sometimes Beyonce's trying to envelop and like portray. Beyonce has it. Hearing Grace Jones is really cool. Thames is really cool, but Solange, I want to hear Solange too. I would love to hear her sister on some song. Act 2 maybe, I don't know. But yes, how do you feel about this?
Yeah, I think, well, first off, in the sequence, it comes perfectly, because I think you kind of, once you're at this point, you're kind of used to the kind of more funkiness, right, of the last couple songs, and then now this one's more powerful.
Yes.
And I'm in LA, so I've been driving a lot, and this one's a fun one in the car. Move out the way! It's like, okay. So yeah, I will be honest, this is one where the first time I listened to it, I was like, I don't understand what's going on. But now that I've listened to this on repeat so many times, it's one I look forward to.
Right.
I love how the second half, first off, basically just feels like a completely different song, but also it goes from being really, I guess, kind of more aggressive with her kind of yelling more, then the second half is calmer, right? So the build is almost, it starts at its highest almost. Or close to its highest, and then it calms down, and then it kind of does get more intense, but it's just an interesting build, very interesting structure. So yeah, I think the song really stands out. This is one where I think after even the first listen, I was already like, move.
Yeah.
You know,
this song is interesting because there's an artist named Doechii, and she has a song called Crazy, and Crazy has that, and she's yelling, and she's blah, blah, blah. Almost in a similar kind of thing like this, where it's very aggressive, but talking about how powerful she is as a woman, and how her and her girls, and how guys can't afford them, but it just never lets up really. It's very aggressive, almost not angry, but it's just like fierce. like you said, the transition into this one was really smooth. And now that you're saying all that, I'm like, oh my God. Beyonce's timing is really interesting. I mean, the music industry itself, they already have their own kind of conversation about where music is going. So when you hear it, like, I guess 2 years later, because she was working on it, but when you hear it like months later or years later, it's so interesting. Because I'm like, where did you get this from? Where did you get this idea from? Like, what made you say yes to this? You know, things like this made me kind of like very curious to know what's happening in her brain. But yes, that being said, how would you rate?
Okay, I think, again, we're trying to think of these as standalone songs, right? So I think I'll give this one an 8.
I agree. As trendy as it is, even with Thames on it, and the shout out to Grace Jones, I also will give this an 8.
Okay, moving on to Heated, and this one was done by Drake, Boy Wonder, Jahan Sweet, Seven Thomas, Nino, Blue June, Brittany Coney, Caleb, Cadenza, Beyonce, and Ricky Lawson. And there's also production by Keeman Duran, Stuart White, and Harry Edwards. We should note that this song has also changed since the initial release. She has replaced a word in the track, which that word, while not usually used in a derogatory manner in America, is actually an ableist slur in other parts of the world. Lizzo actually had to replace the same word in the track Girls a few, like a month ago, maybe, or a month or two ago. So she's now replaced it already. So if you have the physical, you have the original one, but all streaming services, they've replaced everything. All right, so what do you think of Heated?
Heated is interesting because it's chill, right? It's like it's heated, but it's cooled down. It's more smoldery than it is like hot fire. So I like that it's kind of like that. I do enjoy that. I think it's interesting in the verse. You can kind of hear her singing like a tagline, and it's a little back in the mix. This one kind of goes back to a little bit more of like a romantic Beyonce in a sense. I think lyrically it's funny because not funny, but it's kind of ironic how Aubrey Graham is on this one, aka Drake, because we all know he's a soft boy. But also, Honestly Nevermind came out before this. So I'm trying to figure out which was the chicken or the egg. Like, was it like, oh, I just did a Beyonce song, make the whole album like this? Or was it like, hey, Beyonce, I'm working on something. We did mine together. Yeah, sure. Like, I'm just very curious to know what came before. And it's interesting because, like, with Drake, it wasn't bad, but I just don't feel like the songs delivered in a way that was eclectic as much as it was like, I'm gonna ride this wave, y'all don't know where I'm going with it, blah, you know what I'm saying? Because people are criticizing like, what's the difference between Beyonce and Drake's album? If you haven't heard from our scores, there's a huge difference. Like, it's a huge difference, you know? And then honestly, like melodically, even the melody on this isn't that amazing, or like something for me to latch on to. Isn't terrible, but it's just, you can tell that's kind of like meh and kind of like maybe Drake-ish in a sense.
Okay, so while the melody isn't like extremely dynamic, here's where I will say that it's because of Beyonce's delivery. Yeah, that is what makes it so good, because Drake, obviously, he's known for that kind of more monotone delivery, right? And that works for a lot of his stuff, but I think that's kind of what made the last album maybe not as successful, because it just wasn't, it doesn't have the dynamics and kind of, just kind of the interesting
nuances and flares, and like there's something missing.
Exactly. So that's the difference. But I appreciate him for giving us this one, because I actually do really like it. I like that it's understated. I like that, again, there's that tension there, because she's talking about how she's heated, she's got to cool down, and we're kind of like, why? You know, and you can kind of feel that almost frustration in the way she's saying it, like, I'm heated and I got to cool down. And then, of course, then that sassy rap comes in. So it's kind of all building into that, right? She's like, it's almost like that rap actually came first, and she actually did it before she recorded the song. And then she was like, okay, now I got to cool off. And then she's like, now she's cool enough to then now do it again.
Right.
So, yeah. But rap,
cool off.
Oh, yeah. Another reference.
Okay, sorry.
This rap may be my absolute number one favorite moment on this whole album.
That was sickening.
First off, I think she's clearly been talking to some drag queens. If you watch Drag Race or any exposure to drag queens, like, they love doing verses like this, you know, with the sounds and kind of the fun lyrics, and just the awesome, I don't know what the right word, just like just how fun it is. Like just all the
Yeah.
different tones, all the different
drama.
things. Yeah, the drama.
hmm
I cannot wait to see her do that live. She has to.
Oh my God, yes. Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
You know, I think the fan flaps add to it too, because you're getting pictures. That's something I haven't mentioned, like lyrically wise. I said romantic. I didn't mean to say romantic, but like sultry, not romantic wasn't the word I wanted to use here, but the lyrics of this song is like nothing could play me but the radio. You know, I have all this stuff going for me. Like so many people playing victim and villain at the same time. It's very critical of people. That like haters, if you will. But like you said, yeah, it's just I like how aware she is. Like she says, like going from like overrated, like she calls herself overrated. Like self-aware Beyonce is always my favorite. Like, you know, y'all haters corny with that Illuminati mess. Like, ooh, we are talking about you, Beyonce. And it's like she knows, oh, Beyonce's not all that. But then the next day, oh my God, I love that song. I love Single Ladies. I love. Do you though? Get out of my face. Flaps the fan. Yada yada yada. You know, that kind of thing. Like, I'm here with you on all of that. I agree. It's just really interesting. Again, I just want to see it. I want video. Maybe Act 2 is video, and then Act 3 is concert, and not like 3 albums.
No,
if it's 3 albums, I'll take it.
But I think it's 3 albums.
Could you imagine? Oh yeah, it is 3 albums.
Yeah.
Either way, I'm just saying I do want videos somehow, because I mean, when she started doing that with B-Day, she sold herself to us.
Yep.
So at that point, we're expecting visuals for everything now, because B-Day was the album that she started that, and now we're expecting it consistently. But yeah, how do you rate this one?
Ooh, okay, I'll give this one a 9.5. How about you?
I agree, 9.5. Yeah. Oh, hang on. Shout out to her Uncle Johnny. That was such a sweet little reference. I love that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, rest in peace. And up next, we have a Thique. Oh, hang on. Wait, no, that's not a 2K thing. It's a Thique. I have to say Thique. A Thique Quay. Anyway, so the song is written by Beyonce, Chantel Nicole, Hit Boy, Inc., Lil Ju made the beat, The Dream, and Stuart White. Thique is interesting because it sounds kind of TikTok-y for me.
I hate that,
but not in a way where it's
now.
like.
Anyway, continue. Sorry, I'm too old for TikTok. I hate it. Continue.
TikTok's tough. But like not in a bad way. I just think it's interesting because she's like, it's getting thicker. I told him to go harder. I like that part. It's very interesting. I like that the pre has like a horn kind of sound, and then like there's like a trap drum to kind of make it more like hip hoppy or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's a spoken choruses and there's references to Freaknik. I'm like, ugh. I love that she describes what the thickness is. Like thick. What is thick? Like we know what thick is, but what exactly is thick according to Beyonce? What is THIQUE? I really love that. And if you don't know what Freaknik is, y'all, I will explain that a little bit later. I have a reference to that later. But again, this song isn't like, oh my God, we need to talk about it. Like so much things to talk about. It does what it needs to do. It's pretty cool. It's pretty chill. Effortless, I guess that's the word you could use here. It's more rapper Beyonce, and I've seen some critiques about her rapping and people not really liking it. But honestly, because her voice is getting more deeper and raspier, it's good for me. Like ignore that she's a mom, ignore that she's a pop star, ignore that she's 40-something years old. She's serving you rap, and she's doing it well. You know, so.
Yeah, it's funny because you mentioned the TikTok thing. I've been making fun of a lot of younger people. Sorry if you're listening, that they do a vocal fry just in everyday life when they talk, and it really annoys me. It really annoys me. But in this case, the vocal fry is great. I think it's cool, and it's fun to have almost a rap track from her. You know, and it's like this could very easily have been delivered super sassily. And she didn't go that way, which I appreciate, because that would have been kind of annoying, I think. The production is cool. I like the hi-hats. I think the little kind of low whomps and kind of the real extreme bass heaviness of it is cool. And it all kind of builds very nicely. And just as you start to kind of be over the rap-iness of it, then the vocals do kick in, right, for the second half. So I appreciated that. For sexy outro as well. Have to shout that out. I do have to say that when I heard this song, I started thinking of choreo. And for those of you who don't know, I've been very kind of like, I think I'm retiring from dance. But will this bring me back to class? Maybe. If people teach to this, maybe. Because it's fun.
Yes. It is very fun. Again, this could slot right in next to Beyonce on self-titled. Again, like I think this is an evolution of that for sure. So that being said, what kind of rating do you give Thique?
Ooh, okay. Okay, this is more one that I want to dance to, but I don't know if I want to listen to it a lot, so I'll give it a 7.5. How about you?
Okay, I will give this a thick 8.
Okay. The next one is All Up in Your Mind, which was done by Beyonce, Chantel Nichols, Mike Dean, Blood Pop, A.G. Cook, S1, Jamil Aussie, and The Dream. So what do you think of All Up in Your Mind?
All Up in Your Mind's interesting. I mean, if you look at the names are on here, these are pop people. Like, yeah, they've done some hip hop here and there. Like what's his name? Mike Dean. He's done some hip hop here and there, but like Blood Pop, what you doing on there? I mean, Gaga, Rina Sawayama, things like that. I'm just like, oh, very pop. So it's interesting to have this sound on this album because this is hyper pop. This is definitely like a blackified version of hyper pop. And for people that don't know, think like Charlie XCX, Rina Sawayama, Sophie, Shy Girl. So it's interesting that she got this. And I'm also very happy. I would love to see her explore it some more. And I can hear certain things kind of clashing and clanging a little bit, but I like it. I mean, this song, though, like lyrically kind of reminds me of this video here on YouTube. I forgot the YouTuber's name, but it's titled Beyonce, the Ultimate Pick Me. Like she has some of these really romantic lyrics about how she needs someone. And you're like, but B, what? But the beat is so sick, you forget that she's being kind of like needy in a sense. Like she has like these raspy, growly vocals for sure. But compared to like a Partition where she's being kind of like, you know, Monica Lewinsky all over my gown, which by the way, Monica's like, hey, since you're removing, you know. But like, compared to like a Partition, the way this song is kind of going, where it's just like, give me this and like I will comply and all this stuff like that. Partition, I think, is a little bit above it in the sense of like sexiness, and even though she's like getting really nasty and she's kind of being submissive, Partition's a little bit higher for me. This song isn't bad, it's just not as catchy as a Partition. And again, I think it's amazing how she's like, I'm strong, I'm this, I'm all of that, but then she's like, why don't you notice me in the lyrics? It gives like this vulnerability that I think that everyone kind of feels like, yeah, I can love myself, but why the hell aren't you loving me too? And I like that. This is an R&B hyperpop thing, and I'm here for it. It's just, again, the conflicting kind of sounds and lyrics make it like something I want her to delve a little bit more into, because I'm just like, oh, okay, I like this. I feel this personally as well. So, you know, I'm not mad at it. How'd you feel about this one?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, actually, this is one I tend to forget on the album. For some reason, it just doesn't really stand out for me, and I think it's because the melody just kind of gets a little boring as the song progresses, because it's the same, it's the same thing the whole time, pretty much. Yes, there are production switch-ups, yes, there are new background vocals, and there are some cool elements throughout. Like I do like that kind of like breathing in the background, I think at one point. But yeah, I don't know what it is. For some reason, this one just doesn't fully do it for me. I will say I like that the way she's singing, especially in the verses, that kind of more slightly staccato execution, a kind of nonchalant delivery that does change up as it goes. And there's kind of an interesting effect on the voice too. But yeah, I don't know. This one isn't totally for me. I couldn't even really sing it back to you now, to be honest.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't have a Partition how where you're like, it's nasty, she's being a little submissive, but it's just something about it is not as, like I said, there are moments, but for me, I don't think it was like, wow.
Yeah. I did like how kind of noisy it got at the very end. Like, I think the overall build of the song is cool, but that's pretty much all I can really take away from it. So
I'm gonna give this one a 7.5. Oh, that feels,
I know it feels wrong. Okay, I will also give it a 7.5.
On to the 14th track, America Has a Problem by Beyonce, The Dream, Mike Dean, Jay-Z, Kilo Ali, Tino McIntosh, and this one has a sample of cocaine, which was written by Tino and Andrell Rogers and performed by Kilo Ali. So yes, now America Has a Problem. I think this was the song when we saw the track list, we thought, okay, Beyonce is going to give us a statement like Formation.
Yeah, a statement.
Joke's on you.
Yes.
And she did not do that. I mean, if you think about like the source material, America Has a Problem, the cocaine endemic, the Reaganomics, if you want to get into it, if you want to get into the political statement there, you can look into it if you want to kind of like underlying messages. But like as a whole, she's saying, no, America, I am the problem.
Yeah, I'm
You know,
like a drug.
like,
Yes.
yes, I am the drug. I'm infiltrating your homes. I'm influencing your children. Watch out. I'm here for that. And I love that I love like the beat because it's Freaknik. It's a Freaknik kind of beat. And if you don't know what Freaknik is, it was Atlanta's hottest party back in the 90s. Like, I mean, think Woodstock, but with more like more seasoning and twerking. Just a lot of just interesting things going on. And this one felt really cool because the percolating sounds. It reminded me of Supersonic by JJ Fad. And of course, the sample is from that era anyway. And I love that pre-hook rap. Oh my
Yes.
gosh, it's so fun. You know what I'm saying? Like it reminds me of I'm Bad, like the whole 80s rap situation with the orchestral hits like dun dun, LL Cool J, Kangol hats, you know, just truly 80s. And when I think about 80s, I think when people think about 80s, they get stuck in like Huey Lewis kind of corniness or like Rick Astley. And I love that kind of sound. But like we're getting kind of stuck in this like weekend version Dua Lipa thing. Even in K-pop they're doing it. And it's just like, come on, there's so many other sounds in the 80s. And it's just like, this is why having a supply of influences or a library of references is important. I mean, she can go so far with this. Like this could have gone into like Africa Bombada and the Soul Sonic Force, like Planet Rock, like B-boying. It could have gone so far and it can still go that way. Like she has so much more she can dive into. Just I don't think she's gonna give us more dancing, but again, if she's sitting there deciding to do like a whole tour, she could easily segue right into an Africa Bambaataa kind of thing. Again, she could have eaten it so much more. And again, she could have been political, like how she called Karen's terrorists on the earlier track. But again, I love how she was just like, I am the problem, I'm awesome. So what did you think? What are your thoughts about this one?
Yeah, I think the production is cool. I like the kind of click snare that's used. I like the kind of wiry bass dynamic. But actually, the thing that stands out the most to me is her vocals in this. Super dynamic song. You get the rap parts that are a bit more conversational. You get the signature belt. You get the extended notes. You get the attitude, right? So it's just all, she just sounds really great in this song. My favorite parts are when she does the no. In between the extended notes. It's just fun. I think it's a good one. I will say again, though, this is one that I can't really remember. Like, it's not one that I list as a highlight when I listen to the album. But I enjoy it when I listen to it. So it's I don't know what to rate it. What do you rate it?
I'm honestly going to give this one an 8 for the sake of like creativity, but it's just not sitting up higher for me only because of the lack of like me attaching to the melodies and the verses. Like I just remember the awesome kind of hits and moments. Okay. You know, so I'll give it like an 8 in that sense. I want to go lower, but I think an 8.
I'll take your lead and also give it an 8. All right, the next song is Pure/Honey. I guess we say the slash, right? It's not just Pure Honey? Yeah. All right, so this one was done by Andrew Richard, Michael D. Cox, Vahai Marcel Alston, Jarrell Black, Moy Renee, Brittany Coney, The Dream, Blue June, Michael Pollock, Darius Dixon, Raphael Sadiq, Blood Pop, Beyonce, Kevin Jay-Z Prodigy, Kevin Aviance, Count Maurice, Andrew Richardson. Did I miss anyone? Yes. There's still production by Stuart White and Nova Wave. Yes. Wow. So this one has 3 samples, which is why I just listed so many people. And there's Miss Honey, there's Cunty, and there's Feels Like. And I already listed all those people, so I'm not going to say it again. Anyway.
Yes.
This. Now this is a drag queen's dream. This is like a queer classic in the making. I love when songs have 2 parts too, because that's always fun. It's always interesting, like why they chose to put them together. But yeah, I love Beyonce's lower tone. I know we mentioned it quite a lot already in this episode, but I love that her just speaking in this tone for the whole first part of the track is just great. It's just a great balance of sass and ease, and it's a very pleasant voice to listen to. And yeah, you know, the whole build production-wise is just very cool. I think the Cunty sample is really well used. I like how the synths slowly get added in, the percussion slowly gets added in, and then just as you get a little bored, the honey part kicks in. We get some more brightness.
Yes.
We get some more melody. I like the affected horns. And again, the harmonies are just layered so beautifully. So this is a good one.
I think so too. I think the ballroom has another anthem, honey, for sure. I think the thing about like having the two songs, like the pure honey thing. I mean, if you take out the slash, it can be pure slash honey or just pure honey. It still works. If you want to have them as two separate entities, or if you want to combine it into one thing, that's completely fine. You know, she's giving you raw and sweet. If you think about what honey is, if you think about Beyonce and the whole beehive and her whole bee sting thing, it still fits in. Again, it's one of those things where if you like step back, or even you step in it rather, if you step in it and submerge yourself into her mind, you're like, I don't like her, but she's smart. Or you're like, I love her. She's so smart, and this is why I love her. This is one of those things. I think with this song, it goes back into that foil concept. And what foil is like in a literary sense, it's that there's two separate characteristics of a character, or like or characters, excuse me, that they have opposite kind of attributes that complement the other, or like highlights the other person's strength, or this is what the song does. You have one section that's like okay, and then it gets into Miss Honey, and you're just like, where is that coming from? You know, it went from like this like, you know, disco funky kind of thing going on, like it's funky, and all of a sudden Miss Honey. It feels it's interrupted, and I love that kind of foil character that comes in. The song feels really good to like duck walk to, and there is no definitive chorus really. What kind of leans back into like her more dancier tracks. It, again, feels really lucid, but I want to learn choreo to this, and I think Honey is a fun handoff. It reminds me of like the kind of like Pure reminds me, Pure Honey, that whole little section where they're kind of like switching in between reminds me of like Diana Ross's like Muscles, like the kind of cheesy, like a random, it's just, I don't know, something about it was like really dreamy for a second. And I was like, I can hear Diana kind of doing something like this. Not so much Donna, but I can hear someone from back then with big hair and dresses and just giving you sultry. So what would you rate this track? I have my score already.
I will give it a 9. How about you?
I agree. I was gonna give a 9. I was gonna give it a 9 too, but yes, it's a 9. Last track on this album is Summer Renaissance, written by Beyonce, Levin Kali, Blue June, Mike Dean, Brittany Coney, The Dream, LeVar Copen, Inc., Sal Dali, Ricky Lawson, Donna Summer, Giorgio Moroder, Pete Bolette, Nova Wave, and Soul Was. I have to read through all the...
Yeah, it's a lot of names.
This song contains elements and interpolations of I Feel Love, written by Donna Summer, Giorgio Moroder, and Pete Bolette, and is performed by Donna Summer. Of course, the queen. And we all know that Beyonce loves a little bit of Donna. I mean, Naughty Girl.
Yes.
She's been living for her. But yes, I'm gonna let you kick us off.
Okay, yes. I want to note also, so this is the third song that has been sent to radio for the potential second single. Yes. So very interesting choice. I may be here for this one, actually. But yeah, how can you do a dance or disco influenced album without referencing Donna Summer? Come on now. So again, the use in this case is very inspired, very refreshing. She could have very easily just sang I Feel Love, but she changed it. It's I'm So Good, you know? So it feels brand new, you know? And that synth progression is so classic, but again, she made it sound cool. Just a really awesome way to use it. And yeah, I think this song wraps up the project perfectly. It's sexy, it's fun, it's confident. Again, you get the dynamics of her voice. I like the kind of sing-songy verse that happens mid-song. It's really cool and just super unexpected given how the rest of the song is. And again, it just kind of ties it back to the kind of just the more conversational vocal style she was using throughout some of the other songs. But yeah, just imagine this song like ending the concert, right? With real applause. Ooh! Tons of confetti, the Sugar Mamas, if they're still called that, going off behind her. As you can tell, I'm just obsessed with her band. Oh gosh, this whole album needs to be performed, just from start to finish. She doesn't need to sing anything else. And I love that the ending, it doesn't just end like on a button or anything. You get this understated synth line, you get that pensiveness back, and it leads it perfectly back into I'm That Girl. Like, this album is a perfect, constant replay album. Because that's how I was listening to it at first. I just had it on repeat. And when at first I couldn't tell that I had finished it, you know? Like, it just kind of kept going. And I was like, oh, wow. Like, so well thought out. Anyway.
No, you're so right.
What do you
I sat
think?
here, I was like, wait. Oh, no, seriously. You're so right, because it brought me back to like, wait. It's the thing I said before. The song makes you go, wait, hang on. Let me look at my phone real quick. What song is it? Which is great. And honestly, I love the whole summer renaissance, because it's like what do you mean by that? Donna's Summer Reimagined.
Yes.
I freaking love that. That's beautiful. Because I was like, oh, it is summertime. For me, dumb brain came out. Big brain came. You know what I'm saying? Like, big brain had to step in and be like, listen, kid, sit here. Put the big one back in here. So I appreciate it, because it is reimagined. And I think this whole thing, it really fits the whole Renaissance thing. I mean, it's a huge undertaking to have that as a title, Renaissance. What are you reinventing? What is being reimagined? Yeah. Think about all the influences. She's done it. And now we're at the end, taking it back to an influence that she has always kind of used. Mm-hmm. I would have loved to see a little Tina thing, but it's kind of hard to throw like a Tina thing on here. But either way, I feel like there's some Tina in here either way, with the horns and stuff, Proud Mary horns being thrown in everywhere with certain things. But yes, I love that. And I think, hang on, back to Donna. Kelly needs to play her in a biopic. I said it already, I'm gonna say it again. I think the thing about this song is I love the lasery kind of synths, like, oh, pew, 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 pew. And it could have been cheesy, but it wasn't, because the raps kind of like carried it really well. Yeah. And there's some like, pew, 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 pew. It just reminds me of Shaka Khan's I Feel For You, especially in the chorus part, like right before, and like the it's so good, it's so good, it's so good, that part there. It got really churchy at the end too. Like, it feels like, whatever felt good to her was feeling real good, especially with the church and the choir singing. We're like, yes, this is good. This is amazing. I feel like she caught the freaky ghost, not the holy one. She caught the freaky ghost. She goes, feels good. Yeah. Like, like it just felt very much like, doom, doom, doom. If black churches, the chords going doom, 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 the vamping. That's what it felt like. I would love to hear some vamping for this. But yes, I think it's interesting, because it ties back into a little bit into B-Day, because at the end she's listing a bunch of like labels, like clothing and whatnot, and she did that in Upgrade You, right? And the music's still kind of going while she's still rapping at the end, and it's echoing out, it's winding down, and like you said, that little synth at the end, it just makes me think of the disco donkey that she's riding off into space.
It's a horse.
I know, but just for the alliteration, disco donkey. So the disco donkey just carrying her off into the sunset, or wherever we're going, either into the next phase, Act 2, or right back into this wonderful loop of the Renaissance. Mm-hmm. So that being said, I will give this song a 9.5.
Okay, I give this one a 10. This one's up there. All right, so we're now at our cut or keep section. So if you had to cut a song from this album, which is very difficult because it just is so seamless, what would you cut?
I would cut out Energy. It's okay. As a transitional song, like, it's decent. Like, I was thinking about cutting out Cuff It, because Virgo Groove already kind of does what it needs to do, and Cuff It's kind of like a safe thing. But, I'll say Energy, because I feel like something else could have been there in its place. Like, I mean, if you think about the Velvet Rope album, there was a whole song of just production, and it Something Zone? Oh my God, I cannot think of the title of the song, but it's Something Zone, a safe zone. But it was just her talking about 3 different zones of feeling and music. And I feel like if we would just had a straight dance track to kind of transition us, that would have been a little bit more interesting in that sense, as opposed to Energy. No offense to Beam, but it's okay. What would you cut?
Okay, so while Energy is, I think, my lowest rated song, I would actually keep it, because I like the way it segues into Break My Soul. So I would probably cut All Up in Your Mind, just because I'd never remember it.
Oh.
Yeah. But I still like it. It's just, this is tough. All right, if you could only keep one song from this album, what would you keep? I know what I would keep.
I know what I would keep too. You want to do 1, 2, 3? I feel like we both going to keep the same one. That's why.
Really?
Okay, ready?
I don't think so.
Maybe not.
I'm trying to be different.
We'll see what happens. 1, 2, 3.
Virgo's
Alien
Groove.
Superstar. Okay. Okay. I was thinking Virgo's Groove too, but Alien Superstar is definitely one of my favorites. Like, if I were to show someone something, she doesn't cuss too much on it too. I know this is weird, but my mom doesn't like that she's cursing now. And I'm like, Mom, but Beyonce's been cursing since Lemonade. I mean, since Self-Titled. She goes, yeah, but she's so classy, and like, she's one of the pop artists that kind of like, I can listen to, I can let younger people listen to. Like, it's she's so clean. And I'm like, really, Mom, you think so? But in the sense of like how it sounds sonically, lyrically speaking, it's just the way it makes me feel, makes everyone kind of feel.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a really solid damn song.
Oh, yeah.
So I think I would keep that song for sure. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I'll choose Virgo's Groove. I know it's very typical of me because I think, I don't know. I'm very obvious, I think, with my taste.
Yeah.
But you know what? I don't care. It's awesome, and I really enjoy it. And every time I hear it, I'm very happy about it. So, yeah.
Exactly.
But if I had to just keep one section of a song, though, it has to be the rap from Heated. It's so good. It's just the best. Oh, man. I need to learn it.
Yes.
Yeah. Overall thoughts on the album. 1 week in.
Right. 1 week in, after listening to it in my car, I think I've said everything I needed to say. I think the reason it's so seamless and it feels almost like she's just transporting through time is her ability to combine the old with the new. She has so many different kind of elements, and the dynamicism of this album is definitely apparent. And it's been so long since we've had an actual pop artist do like songs like this.
Mm-hmm.
I feel something from
Yeah.
this. I don't know what it is. I feel like I'm getting brainwashed. I don't know. Also, shout out to this dang album. This is Lady Godiva, Bianca Jagger going into a disco on a horse. The idea behind the whole album,
Cover.
again,
You mean?
the cover, excuse me, the whole album cover, the everything inside of it, even the packaging of the box. You guys will see me unbox it on our CCTV Instagram.
Yeah.
But like, thought went into it, and I appreciate it. It's
Yeah.
the old, it's the new.
Yeah,
So,
we love a
What
good
about you?
physical.
Yes.
Honestly, there's a reason Beyonce is the queen right now, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's a reason no one can even touch her, honestly, in the
Yeah.
current landscape of artists. And this album lives up to that title. It's so well thought out. Every single element, every single background vocal, every instrument, there was some thought put into it, and it's there for a reason, and you can hear that. And you can also hear just from the breadth of samples that were used, how inspired she was, and how deep they went into the archives of this inspiration as well. And so it's just an awesome project. It's just, yeah, you can't even compare it to most of the other artists out there now. And I will definitely continue to just keep this album on repeat. Especially now in the days of where people are just listening to, random playlists and stuff. It's very rare to have an album you want to listen to just from front to back.
Oh my God.
And this one is one. And I don't know if I could even say that about any of her other albums either. So.
For you.
Yeah. For me. So what do you give as a final rating for the whole project?
I will give this a 9. A nice 9.
Me too. A 9.
Yeah. So what do you think not even think, so what is next for her? Let's just get right into it. What is next for?
So we know this is the first part of a trilogy. We don't know exactly what the next two parts are. The most rumors that are going around are that Act 2 is country inspired, and Act 3 could potentially be Destiny's Child. I don't know if that's just fans kind of just trying to make that happen, because we do know it sounded like that reunion was pretty solid before the world was turned upside down, so that's why I think people are anticipating that. But if that's the case, I loved what was the song that Daddy Lessons, that she did with the
Daddy
Dixie
Lessons,
Chicks. Like, I thought that was so cool. So if that's the direction of her more country inspired stuff, I'm here for it. I think that's awesome. And Destiny's Child, I've been praying for a Destiny's Child reunion since they broke up, and I hated the Destiny Fulfilled tour. So they need to redo it using the Sugar Mamas, all the brand new ways that Beyonce has been doing her set list, with all the different ways she interpolates her own songs and stuff. Like, just imagine a Destiny's Child tour like that. That needs to happen. So for the fan in me, I want Act 3 to be Destiny's Child, but I won't really get my hopes up. But honestly, I'm just excited to see what she does with this project. I'm curious what they do release as singles. I hope there's a visual aspect to the whole thing. I'm curious if she'll tour Act 1 or if she'll wait till she releases all 3. Like, we don't even know the timing of it, right? So I'm excited, and I will just listen to this album a lot in the meantime.
Yes!
Yeah, how about you?
I think after the leak situation, which is normal in music. Y'all always want to say that, especially when you get, different
That was
territories.
stupid. Like 2 days. Come on, guys. 2 days isn't that bad. I don't know why people were making such a big deal of it. But anyway, continue.
Yeah, compared to four, four was released like way before. So that's good, I mean, 2 days is not good, but it's better. Excuse me. It happened to Gaga, y'all. It happened to Gaga. Anyway, because that happened. It's about to get real tight. We might get a random drop like she did freaking self-titled, a random Friday night. And this, she might even shift the paradigm again and release it on a freaking Monday. I don't know, but it went from like Tuesdays to Fridays because Beyonce decided I'm going to drop it on a Friday night. And I'm saying she might decide to do that now. Who knows? But yeah, I agree with you. I think the next coming will be interesting to see because she definitely kind of piqued my interest. I thought she was going to do a bunch of disco stuff, but she didn't. So I'm definitely interested. I'm excited to see what she's going to do. I'm wondering if we're going to get some features or she's going to just kind of solo dolo this. We are definitely getting visuals. I feel like Beyonce would not let us go without visuals. I just don't think she's going to just blab it out as a thing right now, especially after what happened. But yes, Beehive or non-Beehive or new listeners. Oh yeah, shout out to a friend of mine, Leo. I just want to blame him for Beyonce's album getting leaked because he's the one black person that doesn't like Beyonce, and because of that, the B alignment was thrown off. And he listens to our show. He knows what I'm saying. I always say, when there's one black person out of alignment, Beyonce's life don't go well. We all have to be in we all have to be in line, okay? We have to be in formation for Beyonce. But yeah, he's not a huge Beyonce fan, but he said he actually liked it. And shout out to him because he's listened to our show. He really appreciates it. So, but yeah, Beehive, what do you think about this album? Leo, what do you think about this album? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below or message us at CCTV Pops on all social media. You can also join us on Patreon where you can help us decide our next episode topics. So yeah, like what album should we do next? I say we should do a Janet album. I'm in the mood.
Okay, I'm down. Let's do it.
Yes. So please give us a like, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell. And for our listeners, give us a rating and a review on your podcast platform of choice. Until next time, that's Chris.
That's Jan.
And we are CCTV.